The biggest difference between the contractor who owns that #1 spot in Google Maps and the one stuck on page 3 isn't luck. It's a handful of boring little SEO moves that are done really well. This is the 80-20 of local SEO. If you're a contractor and you want more jobs from Google without becoming a full-time marketer, this is where you start. I've dove deep on this. I've studied hundreds of contractors ranking #1 and mapped that out against the brand new 2026 local ranking factors from Whitespark. And it turns out that the top performers are basically only doing the same 5 things. I'm willing to bet this will be the most practical local SEO video you've watched all year. And I know it works because I see these exact same moves behind almost every contractor sitting in the #1 spot. All right, let's get into it. And by the way, starting next month, we're going to begin a new video series where we'll be breaking down the top SEO techniques that million and billion dollar contractors are using. So if you want to steal their moves, first link in the description, you can get a preview of that file before we start to roll out all those videos. So go ahead and check that out. But let's get into today's video with the first SEO trick, which is choosing the correct primary business category for your Google business profile. I should also mention that additional GBP categories is also in the top 10, so you want to think about all of these categories. And in case you're wondering what we're looking at here, these are the 2026 local search ranking factors just released in the last month. They surveyed about 50 of the top local SEOs and said, what do you think matters most? Because, Google doesn't release their algorithm, and this is what these people think. Even this guy. Yes, I regret having that as my LinkedIn profile picture that week. Oh well, nothing we can do about that. When you Google something like roofers near me, you're going to notice that everybody that's ranking first is generally going to have the same primary category. Now, I will say that roofing is an easy one. Of course, it's roofing contract. Now, for some businesses like electricians, plumbers, landscapers, sometimes it could be a little trickier exactly what the right service is, but you want to make sure that you have the same category as everybody else. Don't get cute, don't get unique, just pick the right category. And then if you click on it, normally you won't see actually anything that's important. If you go to maps.google.com and you install a couple plugins, you can actually see what people's secondary categories are. It appears that Plepper is working again. Yay, we love Plepper. That's my favorite free SEO tool. And so searching roofers near me, we've actually seen what all the secondary categories are, including siding contractor, snow removal service, general contractor, gutter service. These are important things to know. You want to hit these secondary categories as well. And if you scroll down on the left here, you can see GMB Everywhere showing you what each business has as their secondary categories. A lot of people only have one. You can see these guys have them decked out. Congrats, Tactical Roofing and Construction, for hitting all those things. Here's your homework. Go to the back in your GBP, click Edit Profile, and look at your categories and make sure you have the right primary category for your business. And once you've done that, it's time to get to SEO trick number 2, which is having your keywords in your business name. But be careful about this one. The second ranking factor we have no control over. It's proximity to the searcher, which is why your little heat map, when you do a GeoGrid, can only go so far. People make these wild claims so they can get you to show all over the city, which it makes sense for smaller cities, but anyway, I digress. The next one is having keywords in your GBP title, but you have to follow the rules. This page breaks down all the rules on your Google business profile. Right now, we're talking about the name. Okay, you have to follow these things. You cannot have marketing taglines, you can't have store codes, you can't have trademarks or when it's open or phone numbers. You're actually not supposed to have the postnomial in business terms, the LLC or whatever, and you can't have like product information, things like that. However, when we search roofers near me, look at the top 3 results. Deschutes Roofing, Scott's Roofing, Northwest Quality Roofing, LLC. You guys can take that off of your name, by the way. Notice the theme that the top 3 businesses all have roofing in their name. Now I'm actually scrolling down and a lot of people have roofing in their name. We have Roof Doctor is the first thing. They have Columbia Basin Exterior. These guys have good categories, everything else, a lot of reviews, and maybe, just maybe, because they don't have the keyword name in their business title, it's hurting them. But you have to be careful to follow the rules. If I look at this business right here, they're probably stuffing keywords into their business right here. That's probably not their legal business name or their DBA name. Those are the only 2 options you have. You either need to have your keywords, which could be your actual keyword for your service like roofing, or your location like Bend. You can have that in your legal business name or have a DBA, doing business as, to do that. You look up SEO Bend, Oregon. We show up first and look at what it says. Then Designs, Bend Web Design SEO. Well, guess what? If you also look up DBA SEO, you'll see a video by me that explains how to get a DBA for your business. And guess what I got as the DBA? Then Designs, Bend Web Design SEO. I need to file a new one because I want to slightly change our name a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. But that is how you can actually stuff your keywords in the legit way. Now for your homework, go to your GBP backend, click on edit profile, look at your business name. Do you have any keywords in there? Can you put any keywords in there? Again, if it's not in there, consider filing DBA. I think it cost me $50 with the state of Oregon to file that. It's so worth it and it can totally help you rank higher. But enough about that one. Let's move on to trick number 3, which is playing with your open now window. They went through and talked about some of the new noteworthy factors here, and business is open at time of search became one of the top ranking factors. And I absolutely see this all the time. You may have noticed a trend of GBP showing that they're open 24/7. However, this totally violates Google Business Profile's representation rules. That being said, it appears that Google's doing nothing, and I mean nothing, about this. So you have two options. Number one, if you see a competitor that's open, and let's say that they're open 24 hours, like all the ones that are up here first, above the ones that are closed, that are probably actually closed, what you have to do is you have to search for the actual business. So let's do that. That'll pull up their knowledge panel, and you can go down here to suggest an edit, and you can adjust their hours to whatever they are. Again, that's just my recommendation. If you see your competitors doing this trick and you know they're not open 24 hours, call them out for it and make this change. It's actually totally random. One pro tip is I would not use the Google account that's attached to your GBP to make this edit. Use your personal account, either have like a partner or your friend's account so that you can do this a little bit more anonymously. Now, what about for your business? Well, if you're not going to answer the phone at 2 a.m, then I don't think that you should be open 24 hours. However, there are some pretty affordable call answering solutions available online these days, so you could look into that. The other option is just to expand your hours by a little bit, especially if you have a physical location. You totally can't lie about this, but you can consider staying open for 1 hour here and 1 hour there, especially if your competitors say close at 6, you can stay up until 7, maybe capture some search traffic on the front end and the back end of the day for just a little bit of expense and labor. These are totally tactics that people have been using throughout 2024 and 2025. So you want to check this out and figure out ways that you can milk that just a little bit. But now it's time to move on to SEO trick number 4, which is getting reviews always. Now, I can tell you from experience that when we work with businesses, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll get a lot of reviews when they start working with us because we kind of nag them to do it. Then there's a little bit of a dip for a while. Then we nag them to get some more, so there's another spike. And then there's a lull for a little bit. And then there's another little spike. And that's not very good. Some of our clients, however, continue to get a constant stream of reviews, and that's perfect because that's what we found to be an incredible ranking factor. Recency of reviews is now the number 11 ranking factor. The last time they did this in 2023, it was the number 20 ranking factor. It went up a lot, and honestly, between you and me, I feel like it's higher than that. And so coming up with a review getting strategy is massively important. Now, there's some tools that usually cost around $100 a month that can automate this process. But if you're a high-end contractor, you're probably not doing that many jobs, right? Maybe you're doing a couple or maybe even like a dozen a week. If you're a bigger operation, you can either A, do them yourself as the owner, or B, delegate that task to say your project manager or your admin staff to make sure that there's an actual genuine touch point asking for this review, because this is an intimate connection with the person you provide a service for. You want to hear their genuine feedback, and you also want them to know that this can actually help your business grow. If you do this, people are more likely to respond. However, you're probably going to need to nag them a little bit. Give yourself up to 3 chances to nag them. After that, just be kind, let it go, and move on to the next customer. It's not so important to have the most reviews anymore. It's more important to have the most recent reviews. And by the way, don't forget to copy and paste those reviews back to your website, because when LLMs are crawling your website, they're using those testimonials. Even having a separate testimonial page just so they have a place to quickly look and see those reviews can be helpful to help you get recommended by tools like ChatGPT. By the way, they make it super easy to ask for reviews nowadays. There's an Ask for Reviews link right here, which you can copy, and pro tip, Command K or Control K will make it so you can add a link to an email, and you can also right-click Save Image As on this QR code. You can put on a business card. You can bring it out to job sites. You can actually get reviews all over your city. People have theories that can help expand your pins on those heat maps, those GeoGrid results. So definitely something you want to look into. All right, and now it's time for the final trick, and it's making sure your website tells Google what you do and where you do it. Now you might be wondering, Sam, I thought we were talking about the Google Business Profile, showing up in the map pack, getting those massive results up there. Well, that's true, but hear me out. If we scroll all the way back up to the top, they actually break down the factors that are most important kind of by the categories. And you'll notice that the number 3 most important ranking factor for the map pack, which they're calling the local pack here, are on-page signals. So yes, we know that working on our GBP is important. Of course, we know that reviews help us show up in the map pack, but working on your website can massively help you rank higher in the map pack. It kind of seems contradictory, right? You're working on your website, not your GBP. Why should this matter? Well, it's because Google is pulling in signals from your website to figure out which searches you should be ranking for. And there's actually a ton of website related factors that are in this sheet, but I'll just focus on the first one, which still is in the top 20, and it's keywords in the GBP landing page title tag, which I like to call the SEO title. It's one of the SEO hotspots, which, by the way, might be the first technique we talk about in our $1 Million Contractor series that's starting next month. Make sure you grab that in the first link in the description. And this is something that rang true the first time I did this for my own business website, and it continues to ring true for dozens and dozens of clients' websites. And I will not be working on the GBP at all, and I'll do something to the website and I'll notice the GBP ranking go up a little bit. It's crazy. But think about it. Google's trying to get a picture of your business as a whole, as an entity, and it's getting these signals from all over the internet. Most importantly, from your Google business profile, the information you put in there. That's why having your secondary categories are important, especially if you're something like a general contractor. You're also going to put secondary categories for bathroom remodel, kitchen remodel. And you know, it'd be great if you can back that information up by having a page for bathroom remodel and kitchen remodel on your website. Now, your homepage should probably be targeting your primary category. Yes, 100%, but you got to look for the other opportunities. A lot of people get too hung up on their primary keyword of the business only, but there's a ton of opportunities all over the place and you got to be looking for these things. So what we're talking about today is the title on the page linked to from the Google Business Profile, usually the homepage. We'll look at Deschutes Roofing, our example in this case. And you can see when I hover over here, their title tag is Deschutes Roofing, Eugene and Bend, Oregon, roofing contractor, blah, 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 blah. Here's the whole thing. They end it with call us. Here's the meta description, the URL, and there's the H1. You'll notice that all over the place, they're saying roofing, 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 roofing. They did a great job of hitting their SEO hotspots. And this is just a random business that happens to be in the town I'm located in. But these strategies are reflected all over the country, in your city, in the city next to you. And so these are the tricks that you need to follow if you want your contractor business to show up in the map pack in your area. All right, so quick recap of the 5 tricks we went over. You want to get GBP categories dialed in. You want to make sure that you stuff your keyword in your name if you legally can. If you can't, check out the DBA video so that way you can learn more about that. You want to make sure that your hours are representing your business correctly. And if you could put longer hours, go ahead and do that. Focus on recency review. It's massively important. And do not forget to look at your website, especially the SEO title that's being pointed to from your Google Business Profile. And now you know the 5 tricks that all the contractors that are showing up at the top of the map pack are using. And this information has been verified by looking at the 2026 local ranking factors. Again, these are responses from real local SEOs working out in the field. Now, again, you're not going to want to miss early access to our top 5 SEO techniques that $1 million and $1 billion contractors use. First link in the description. That's a living document. We're going to keep working on that over the next couple months, and we'll be dropping 1 video per month as we start the year so you can learn a little bit more about those techniques, hopefully help your small business grow to those big goals that you have set for 2026 and beyond. And by the way, if you're ready to jump in and look at $1 million business's SEO strategy, you should check out this next video. I'll catch you in that one.